Okay, Alan Miles here. We're going to be doing a tutorial on creating a kick drum with a synthesizer. We're going to have to think about the acoustic properties of the real kick drum to emulate it with the synthesizer. So imagine the kick drum. There's a beater that hits the skin, doof. And the skin tightens momentarily, doesn't it? And you know what happens when you tighten a skin or even a string? The pitch goes up. So the skin tightens momentarily with the beater when it hits it, and then it decays, it rests in pitch very quickly too. So we're going to need to emulate that. And it rises in amplitude very quickly too. So let's try and emulate those acoustic events using synthesis. So I'm going to use the ES2. So in the instrument section, I'm going to select the ES2. And with the default settings that are loaded, we just need to bypass a few things to get ready for this tutorial. So vector mode, the bottom right here, we're going to put off there. In the modulation matrix area, we're going to select bypass, there, a little small square, turns orange, bypass, bypass. And we're going to bypass that one that's far left too. This is the oscillator section here, 1, 2 and 3. We're just going to use oscillator 1 for now. So we're going to turn the other two off. You see they grey out, don't they? This is a triangle that mixes between the three oscillators. We're just using oscillator 1, so I'm just going to go for 100% of that. We're not going to use the filter straight away, so I'll turn that off. So in this oscillator, I said I was going to use a sine wave, so grab that pot and drag it down to sine. And now this is the sound we've got. Now that doesn't sound too much like a kick drum. So let's go over to the amp envelope, envelope 3 here. So this is the attack. Now if I have it too long, look at that, it's 1600 milliseconds, which is over a second and a half. It's too soft an attack to emulate the percussive event of a kick drum. So let's bring that down. There's a little click on it that's really clicky if it starts straight away. Sometimes useful for a kick drum, but I don't like it in there all the time. So around about there, 92 milliseconds for me. And a kick drum, when you hit a kick drum, it doesn't carry on playing, does it? So I don't want the sustain to carry on. So I'll drag that down. So there's no sustain on a kick drum, is there? It doesn't play for a long time. So I've got the decay is too short, so that's about the length of a percussive event. Now it sounds percussive, but it's not very satisfactory right now. We're not emulating that stretching of the skin yet, the rising in pitch. So I'm going to go to the far left modulation matrix here and bypass it so it's ready to use. The target is going to be the pitch 1. So that's the target is the pitch 1 of oscillator 1. I'm not going to go via anything for now. And the source is going to be envelope 2, the modulation envelope here. Bring up the level and see what happens. You get that rising in pitch like an electronic percussion. Now this pitch doesn't stay high forever, does it? When you hit a skin. So let's bring that right down. And already you can hear just that emulating that skin tightening when the kick beater hits the skin. We're emulating it with the pitch of oscillator 1 controlled by envelope 2. Now if we experiment with these settings, bring up the decay, you'll hear what happens. Rises higher in pitch and takes longer to fall in pitch. So we're going to balance that. That's sounding more like a kick, so we're emulating the stretching of the skin. Now let's emphasize the rising in amplitude when the kick beater hits the skin and the drum housing resonates. So in target, in the slot 2 of the modulation matrix, the target is going to be amplitude. Scroll down so you get to amp. There it is. The source is going to be envelope 1. We're going to use a separate, discrete envelope for that. So this envelope is controlling the shape of the overall sound, the amplitude of the sound. This is controlling, envelope 2 is controlling the pitch of oscillator 1, the stretching of the skin, and envelope 1 is going to emulate the rising in amplitude when the kick beater hits the skin. So let's bring this up. And then balance some of your previous settings. Now if we bring up the release of the envelope, we can emulate letting go of the skin very quickly if we let go of the key very quickly. And there you go. Simple kick with a sine wave, using the modulation matrix and the envelopes to control the stretching of a skin when the beater hits it, and the rising in amplitude when a beater hits the skin. Emulating acoustic events with synthesis. Think about the properties of that sound. This is Alan Miles. I'll see you later.